Welcome everyone to part 5 of the Tamiya TA08 Pro online build. In the last video we assembled and installed the shocks. Not a difficult task, but we did include some helpful pointers to maximize their performance. Being the last video in this series, we wrap up the build with the installation of the electronics, wheels and tires, and the rest of the final assembly parts. Okay, let's get to it. Open bag E and separate all the parts. There are a lot of parts in this bag, so I suggest keeping them organized for a smoother build. For maximum power, we are installing an R1 Works V21S 17.5 turn brushless motor. We've used this motor in our race rides and it is fast. Go ahead and install the motor guard, but don't tighten down the screws all the way just yet. To handle the steering duties, we are going with Futaba's BLS 571SB Shorty Servo. This servo has both good speed and great torque for touring car use. We are replacing the stock plastic servo mount with Tamiya's aftermarket aluminum one. The build steps are the same, however you will need to use blue thread locker on the screws. There's not a lot of real estate on the chassis for your ESC and receiver, so I would suggest doing a few test runs with your electronics layout. We'll be using the R1 Works Digital 3 Superstock ESC to provide power to our motor. It is possible that you may need to remove the motor guard to attach the sensor cable. Whether you do or not, this would be the right time to tighten up those screws on the guard. Note that your receiver install might vary depending on its size. Before attaching the wires to the motor, we need to tin both the ESC wires and the motor solder tabs. The body mounts have an offset mounting hole to allow you to shift your shell forward or back without drilling new holes. Make sure you match the left and right hole orientation. This cross brace can be mounted anywhere on the rear body mounts. The front body mounts have the same style offset holes as the rear. Make sure you match the left and right orientation. The manual calls for the gear guard to be attached in an earlier step, but I wanted to make sure all the ESC wiring was in place prior to installation. Your electronics wiring may take on a different form, but I added mine here for reference. It gives a good example of how you might mount yours. All that's left to do is mount your body of choice, and you're ready to rock and roll with the TA08. Thanks for joining in on this build, and make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified of future videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the track.